ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Jai Gurudev. So we'll repeat this verse 45 again. The train of thought is from the 42nd verse onwards. Let me just recap once. Krishna has started off, has introduced Buddhi Yoga, which is Karma Yoga. From actually the 38th verse, where he starts off saying, before that, the 37th verse was, Hato va prapsyasi swargam jitva va bhukshase mahim tasmad uttishta kamteya yuddhaya krita nischayah. Up until that, he was just talking about him getting up and fighting. And why he has to fight. Sukha dukkhe same kritva labha labhau jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papamavapsyasi. Treating alike victory and defeat, gain and loss, pleasure and pain. Get ready for the battle. Fighting thus you will not incur sin. I'm actually reading from the Gita Press book. एषा ते विहिता सांख्ये बुद्धिर्योगे त्विमां शृणु बुद्ध्या युक्तो यया पार्थ कर्मबन्धं प्रहास्यसि. So 39th verse, he's introducing Buddhi Yoga. Arjuna, this attitude of mind has been presented to you from the point of view of Jnana Yoga. Now, here, the same as presented from the standpoint of Karma Yoga, the yoga of selfless action. Equipped with this attitude of mind, you will be able to throw off completely the shackles of karma. Neha bhikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. In this path of selfless action, there is no loss of effort, nor is there fear of contrary result. Even a little practice of this discipline saves one from the terrible fear of birth and death. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi ekeha kuru nandana bahushakahyanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. Arjuna, in this yoga of selfless action, the intellect is determinate and directed singly towards one ideal, whereas the intellect of the undecided, ignorant men, moved by desires, wanders in all directions after innumerable aims. यामिमां पुष्पितां वाचं प्रवदन्त्यविपश्चितः वेदवादरताः पार्थ नान्यदस्तीति वादिनः कामात्मानस्वर्गपरा जन्मकर्मफलप्रदां क्रियाविशेषबहुलां भोगैश्वर्यगतिं प्रति भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानां तयापहृतचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते. Arjuna, those who are full of worldly desires and devoted to the letter of the Vedas, who look upon heaven as the supreme goal and argue that there is nothing beyond heaven, are unwise. They utter flowery speech, recommending many rituals of various kinds for the attainment of pleasure and power, with rebirth as their fruit. Those whose minds are carried away by such words and who are deeply attached to pleasures and worldly power cannot attain the determinate intellect concentrated on God. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvasto Niryogakshema Atmavan. Arjuna, the Vedas thus deal with the evolutes of the three gunas, modes of Prakriti, that is, worldly enjoyments and the means of attaining such enjoyments. Be thou indifferent to these enjoyments and their means, rising above the pairs of opposites like pleasure and pain, established in the eternal existence, God, absolutely unconcerned about the fulfillment of wants and the preservation of what has been already attained. You be self controlled. So we've reached thus far. So we'll do this verse one more time. So Vedaha, the Vedas, Traigunya Vishayaha, they have their subject matter related to the three qualities. Arjuna, O Arjuna, Nistraigunyaha, one free from threefold qualities. Nirdvandvaha, one free from the sorrow of the pairs of opposites. Nitya Sattvastha, one ever established in Sattva Guna, Niryoga Kshema, one free from the anxieties of acquiring and protecting, Atmavan, one who is a master of oneself, Bhava, be. So, Vedah Traigunya Vishayah, Arjuna, Nistraigunyah Nirdvandvaha, Nitya Sattvastha, Niryoga Kshema, Atmavan Bhava. The subject matter of the Vedas is related to the three qualities. O Arjuna, be one who is free from the threefold qualities, from the sorrow of the pairs of opposites, one who is ever established in Sattva Guna, one who is free from the anxieties of acquiring and protecting, one who is a master of oneself. It's interesting here that on one side, Krishna is asking Arjuna to become Nistrai Gunyo Bhava. And in the second line, he's saying Sattvastaha, Nitya Sattvastaha. This is be established in Sattva Guna. So we'll see how that narrative is. So Shankara prefaces his commentary to this verse by saying that for the people who are committed to enjoyments and power, for those who do not have Viveka Buddhi, the subject matter of the Vedas becomes Traigunya Vishaya. This is not a full definition of the Veda, which contains much more, including Vedanta. What is meant here is that for those who are committed to Bhoga and Aishwarya, all scriptures will be Traigunya Vishaya alone. One usually looks in the scriptures only for what one wants to see. It is like going to a hardware store that has hundreds of things and looking only for what you want. Similarly, there are a number of topics in the scriptures and you look only for what you want. The Veda provides you with legitimate means for achieving various ends. There are unknown means for known ends, known means for unknown ends, and unknown means for unknown ends. Heaven, for example, is an unknown end because it is not directly known to us. Another janma, a better birth, is also an unknown end that the Shastra says will be accomplished by a life of dharma. Dharma is a known means because what is right and wrong is not totally unknown to us. The Veda confirms what means are right and wrong to accomplish this desirable unknown end later, be it heaven or another janma. Previously, I did not know that if I did the right thing, I would get punya. And by doing the right thing, I not only get the results right here, drishtaphala, but I get adrishtaphala also, a later result. In this way, the Veda talks about known means for gaining unknown ends. It also talks about unknown means for known ends, like having a child. The ritual that is provided has nothing to do with having a child and is only performed when all other known avenues have been explored. If, after consulting doctors and following their advice, there is still no child, then there is definitely some obstacle, pratibandhaka. The only way remaining to remove the obstacle is through prayer. Therefore, the Veda gives a ritual which is a prayer, not a broad spectrum ritual, but a specific ritual meant solely for having a child. Thus, you find that the Veda reveals a variety of means and ends, known and not known to us. But all of them are meant for limited results. These are what people committed to bhoga and aishwarya look for. For them, the Veda means only that part which relates to the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. Traigunya Vishaya meaning samsara. Sattva will give you some happiness, rajas will give you agitation, and tamas will give you dullness and sorrow. Thus, these three qualities are what give you joy and sorrow, sukha and dukkha. Samsara means that which is within the fold of the three gunas. So, do you want to share anyone? Means and ends are not the only subject matter of the Veda. In this verse, Krishna advised Arjuna straightaway not to be one for whom samsara is an end to be accomplished. He said, Nistraigunyo bhava. In fact, samsara cannot be an end to be accomplished. We already have it. We are already within the fold of the three gunas and are seeking freedom from it. A drowning man does not require more water. He is already drowning and will not want to get into the ocean. Similarly, we are already up to our necks in the ocean of samsara. Thus, samsara cannot be an end to be achieved at any time. It can only be a situation to get out of. Krishna was as though telling Arjuna, do not look into the Veda to find a better place in samsara. Be a little discriminative. You have to come up to the Veda. Yet you are trying to perpetuate your samsara. It is meaningless. May you therefore become one for whom samsara is not there. Nistray gunyo bhava. Very powerful statement. May you therefore become one for whom samsara is not there. I'm just reminded of what one of our DSN teachers told us long back is when you're dealing with very egoistic people or someone has humiliated you, just consider them as tables and chairs. Do not give a face to them. Then that would not affect you. It is like you're wiping off that the human face to that whatever has happened. But if you take one step further, become one for whom samsara is not there. Even those tables and chairs, of course, identifying them as tables and chairs relieves you, gives you a lot of freedom. But considering that samsara itself is not there is such a freeing, it's so freeing in the mind. Shankara gives the meaning in short. May you be free from desire, nishkamaha bhava. That is, he says, may you be free from the desire for pleasures and power. Let these not be the end in view. Further, may you become free from the opposites, the causes of sukha and dukkha, nidvandvaha bhava. Shankara also explains the words dvandva and nirdvandva. The causes, hetus for sukha and dukkha, pleasure and pain, are referred to as opposites. Meaning of the word dvandva here. The one who is free from the opposites is called nirdvandva, free from the causes of sukha and dukkha. How can you be free from the causes of sukha and dukkha? By not being dependent for your happiness on the presence or absence of anything. It is the wow factor. It is with or without you are happy. So your happiness does not depend on getting something or on not on avoiding something. Cold and heat, for example, can make you unhappy. If they do, it means that you are dependent on their absence or presence for your happiness. That means that you are not nirdvandva. I remember what Rajima had mentioned with respect to heat and cold. She said as soon as it starts getting cold, one reaches out for something warm or decreases the temperature of the AC, for instance. Decreases in the sense it increases the thermostat. She said, endure it for some time. Titiksha. Don't rush and satisfy your sense needs immediately. Go through it for a while. That will develop your forbearance, your perseverance. Then it amounts to doing tapas. You're exercising your mind, you're stretching it beyond your comfort zone. Another set of opposites is Jaya and Apajaya, victory and defeat. They also become the Hetu, the basis for your Sukha and Dukkha. In defeat, there is pain, Dukkha. In victory, there is elation, Sukha. To this you may say, granted, I do not want pain, but why should I not be elated? Because all we're talking of is happiness, right? Why should I not be elated? The reason is that if you are elated, you are definitely going to have pain also. Why? Because they come together. When you have raga for something pleasurable, something, say, victory, obviously, when you encounter defeat, which you will sooner or later, you are going to be unhappy. So they come together. Raga, Dvesha are twins. They're two sides of the same coin. The reason is that if you are elated, you are definitely going to have pain also. Therefore, may you not let the opposites affect you. Nirdvandvaha bhava. Since you cannot avoid them, may they not affect you. Although you cannot avoid winter and summer, you can allow them not to affect you by maintaining a certain composure or attitude towards them. In this way, you need not be carried away by changing situations which may not always be to your liking. So there are three aspects here, that two aspects basically. Nistraigunyo bhava is one, is be free. Trigunya Vishaya is samsara. So don't look to the Veda only to gain something in samsara. Bhoga, Aishwarya, Jaya, Apajaya, Sukha, Dukkha. This is not what you want. You're not here to gain limited ends. That is one. That is Nistraigunyo Bhava. And the second was Nirdvandvo Bhava. Nirdvandva Bhava. So free yourself from the pairs of opposites. Both Sukha, Dukkha, Jaya, Apajaya, Labha, Labha, Shita, Ushna. So we cannot avoid them. They are inevitable. Pairs of opposites are inevitable in samsara. Therefore, endure them. It's the attitude you have towards them. You're neither craving, neither are you averse. Then you're freeing yourself from them. Like that halwa that is done, no? Initially it is sticking, it sticks to the pan, but as you keep churning it, keep keep on one it keeps getting cooked, then it starts separating from the vessel. It becomes, it frees itself from the vessel, no longer sticks. Similarly, this Traigunya Vishaya as well as Nidvandva, freeing ourselves from the pairs of opposites. And one for whom the samsara is not there. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking like then we should like where things which we do not like doing, so we should see it with that open mind and look into it like why I don't like it, and we should try to then like go for it to do that particular thing. Like suppose a small like thing, people don't like cooking or they don't like ironing, so the things which you don't like doing, then I think then if we do go for it, then it would help at developing that forbearance, as you said. uh, just thinking it that way.
Yeah. This is like we're exercising the mind. See,
Yeah.
normally we like to do things which are pleasing and which we are comfortable to do, which is what stretching out of your comfort zone is, right?
Yeah.
So you are giving yourself opportunities and situations where um, you're happy doing them. You're not unhappy doing it, or you're not averse. You're not avoiding things. That is the whole point of karma yoga. Even if it is difficult, even if it is painful, if it is something that you have to do, you pretty well do it. Like the mind. I don't know why today Rajima is coming up again and again. She was mentioning in Bhagavatam, she said, the ego has thousand, it's a thousand-headed serpent, like the Sheshanag. It comes up in so many different ways. So we should skillfully handle this, because the ego is one that drives everything, right? It's the one that drives our desires, actions, raga, dveshas, all of them. So befriending the mind, making your friend, making your mind your own friend, slowly cajoling the mind, which is why, great saints, they would not be averse to difficulties and painful moments. In fact, they would invite them. They would say, it is only in these moments of despair, moments that are difficult. Normal people do not want difficulties. Normal people want life to be smooth, want life to be full of happiness. Only pleasant things should come. Unpleasant things, no, no, we don't want. Right? That is a normal mentality. Whereas through the ages, when you look at saints, they say, please give us, it's in our problems when we are going through pain is when we actually remember you most. So they would welcome these things. And it is only those moments when you are about to have a breakdown, can you actually have a breakthrough. So you should actually be welcoming problems, because that is an exercise for the mind to become nirdvandvaha. Otherwise, if everything is going well, smooth, this is what Gurudev says, when everything is going smooth, there is nothing you do. You're anyway happy. But it is when moments of difficulty, when you're going through some difficulty, that is when, whether it's difficulty, whether it's humiliation, whether it is criticism, anything which is not to your liking that happens, that is when your real substance comes out. That is when your all that you've learned, you can put to use. Otherwise, it's no big deal just to wear a smile when everything is going fine. Continuing to have that smile in spite of adversities, unfavorable situations, then you're established, centered. And I think that is what is meant by sattvasta, which is what we're coming to now. Anyone wants to add or share before we go to the next paragraph? So I have putting up a point here is with respect to Nistraigunyo Bhava. says, don't go to the Veda to seek some limited end. Don't just get lost in the rituals, seeking some materialistic gain. Nistraigunyo bhava. So Krishna is really giving him a dictum. In fact, he's saying, rise above this. So when we look into our own lives, we do, of course, pray, and there are some prayers that have limited ends. Like, in fact, when I first came to Bahrain and I didn't get a job, one of my friends told me about a vrata, about Siddhi Vinayaka vrata, which she says, you pray to him and, your whatever your desire will be fulfilled. And very true. Never before before I even started doing it, I just took the sankalpa of doing it. I landed my first job, and ever since, a lot of people have been doing this. But then, when I look at it from this perspective, it is like doing a ritual for a limited end. It's the security you're seeking. Job is a security. Marriage is a security. Or say passing an exam is a security. So as a karma yogi, I think when you are a karma yogi, each of your actions is directed only towards antakarana shuddhi. Even your prayer is directed towards that, and it is not directed towards some limited end in the world. I think there needs to be a shift in the mind. You do it, maybe you can still pray, you can still do the vrata, but with you're doing it just out of joy and not for a limited end. Maybe it's only the change in the attitude that needs to be there. Because if one wants to be a karma yogi, then even there is no all, it's either all or none. It is not like you can be half karma yogi and half karmi, right? So I just want to put this idea out there so that we have this clarity in our mind that vyavasayatmika buddhi. Because ultimately, what has to happen will happen.
Also, when we are doing it with that karma yogi bhava, then things will happen themselves, as one or 2 days before. So she was saying that what you desire will be happening uh, in different grades. Like some will get before they think they will receive. Some will get on thinking like they want, it will happen, and some will have to wait for some time and then it will happen. So it is again that I think that purity of heart and that shraddha, and then your that karma yogi bhava basically. So if we are doing with that, then I think he will take care of all your needs. Yes, but you have to do the karma. But as you rightly said, that only the shift of the attitude should be there. No, it should be non-desiring. But sometimes we get caught up in that, with that small mind, that I am doing, I have to do so. I am the doer. That it is me who has to do. In that way, then you do. Sometimes you get, and sometimes you do not get what you desire. So I think that karma yogi bhava is very important. Yeah.
You one just talked about the purity in the heart, but even at the intellect level, we need to get that purity. Only then, and that happens only when we do our sadhana regularly. We are meditating regularly. This is all very important. Like even in the sadhana, like suppose you are doing Padma sadhana, you start with, we tell beginners, you start with 4 Ujjayi breaths. You hold your asana for 4 Ujjayi breaths. It is easy. They can do it, beginners. Then you move towards 6 and then towards 8 Ujjayi breaths. And then it is like they say na, in asana only you can reach infinity. So you can hold it for any length of time. And sometimes you see certain teachers are there who take your Padma Sadhana and all that when you're in the ashram. Some will make you hold Superman pose for a longer period than they made you hold all the other asanas. So when you can become pain free in that, so at the body level you are pain free, even at the mind level you become pain free when you start meditating. So when you do your Sahaj meditation after the Padma Sadhana, all this, is leading towards the intellect becoming more and more pure. Not only a purity in the heart, but the intellect is getting fine, refined all the time. And then that veil of ignorance lifts, and then you are able to go beyond your ego. I am not the doer. And then you can really realize yourself. Maybe it will take time, but you have to go beyond the ego. I am not the doer. But all these things definitely help. Tapa is our sadhana, Gurudev says in today's time. And also, like we in the last 2 3 days, what verses we did, that getting married is one part of it, but building a relationship, a good relationship, holding on to the relationship is another. Bearing a child and then having a good relationship with the child, that also is important. So, how we are dealing in our relationships is all dependent on all the things that we are doing daily. Our sadhana, seva, satsang, all this takes care of everything. And then only that intellect becomes so pure. Say it is. Uh, Vishovoka Jyotishmati, like effulgent intellect, intelligence, that dawns on you. Then you don't look up down upon people. You don't you're one with everybody. Jai Gurudev.
So there is another aspect to the karma kanda. How much of karma kanda is there a concession that we can practice, use some of the karma kanda? See, even in our, we have so many homas. Each homa has an end. It has an end, like Ayush homa. All of them, all the homas and everything that is done can be done for a limited end, can be done for loka kalyana. For um, so, do we continue doing these with having loka samasta sukhino bhavantu attitude, so that we keep the tradition on? Plus, we are not doing it for our own selfish ends or gains, but we're doing it for the sake of the because they're sublime, because they create that sense of sattva. So again, it is a shift in the attitude, because on one side, Gurudev says these um, these whatever the different kinds of prayers are there for you to have comfort in this world. The devas are there. That is why we seek out. If you're doing a homa for getting rain, it is because with rain you get your food, your grains, and then you can live. You can continue living. So for survival, food is required. So therefore, in order to have comfort in this life, you propitiate the devas. So I'm just putting this forward, this idea forward there. To what extent are we
Are we going to be involved in doing this? But when moksha is your only gain, then aren't you in that state of saying whatever is happening is like prasada, whether it's favorable or unfavorable. So you're not tweaking your situation, you're not doing things to alter your situation. You're just doing what is to be done, and you're taking whatever comes as a result with that swabhava, prasada bhava. Then you actually becoming nirdvandva. Otherwise, every time we're doing something in order to get some favorable result, then you are actually caught up in the web of desires. Which is why becoming a true karma yogi is actually very difficult. It's not simple. It's a complete shift in the attitude. Being so totally in the moment and accepting everything as it is. Accepting that the present moment is inevitable. Actually, all the 5 knowledge points that we do in happiness program are characteristics of a karma yogi. So this is up for our reflection. When we pray, are we doing it for a certain result, or are we just praying for, because it's our responsibility, it's our duty to do that, keeping the culture up. One whose thinking enjoys the predominance of the sattva guna is called sattvastha. When sattva is predominant, there is composure, discrimination, inquiry, and knowledge. Rajoguna, on the other hand, means agitation, ambition, and so on. Therefore, may your commitment always be to knowledge only, nitya sattvastaha bhava, so that you can discover yourself to be nistraigunya. So being in sattva is important. Why? Because when you're in knowledge, then you can discover yourself to be nistraigunya. So I had this doubt initially that he's on one side he's saying nistraigunya bhava, and the other is saying become sattvastha, as in be established in sattva guna, because that is a necessary step. So when your sattva is predominant, you have composure, you are discriminating, you have viveka, and then that knowledge dawns. And with that knowledge, you become nistraigunya. Because you cannot be in tamas and rajas and expect to be nistraigunya. You have to go up to that step of sattva. Shankara also explains what the word niryoga kshema means in his commentary to this verse. Gaining something that you do not have is called yoga. Something that is not with you, something that you want to accomplish, something that is desirable. Kshema means having to protect what you have already gained. Say you do not have a job and you apply for one, and then go for an interview. This is all done for the sake of getting the job, and therefore you are doing yoga. Once you have the job, it becomes another job to retain it. The whole job of retaining a job is what is meant by kshema. Similarly, earning money is yoga, and hanging on to it, investing it, is kshema. Having a child is yoga, bringing up and retaining the child, not losing it, is kshema. Getting married is yoga, and making it work is kshema. Therefore, there is yoga kshema everywhere. A person's problems will always be related to either yoga or kshema. This is what Gurudev says. He says all the troubles of people can be boiled down to just these two. It's either job, money, a job of course includes money, or relationships, maintaining relationships. So either you want a job or you've lost a job. You want to maintain it. Either you do not get what you want, or you have lost what you had, or are losing what you have. From the hair on your head onwards, there are hundreds of things that we are losing which cause problems of anxiety, all of which are yoga and kshema. Krishna therefore said to Arjuna, may you be a person who has no concern or anxiety due to yoga or kshema. Niryoga kshema bhava. The whole idea here is that for those who are only concerned with getting what they want and hanging on to it, engaging themselves in the pursuit of moksha will be very difficult. Krishna did not say that you should not go for yoga and kshema. Rather, he said, let there be no concern born of yoga and kshema. In other words, may you be free. So this is the last two sentences are important in the sense, he says Krishna did not say you should not go for yoga and kshema. It is not like you should not seek out a job. It is not like you should not desire that, if someone in the family needs to get married, you should not. Of course you do. But let there be no concern born of yoga and kshema. Don't get feverish about it. Don't go on hanging on to it. In other words, may you be free. The whole idea here is that for those who are only concerned with getting what they want and hanging on to it, engaging themselves in the pursuit of moksha will be very difficult. So I think this is the answer to the question as to whether we should pray to get some limited end. So keeping this perspective of moksha in mind, I will clarify this with Nana. This is my understanding. Keeping that perspective in mind, you can still do these things with yoga kshema, with that loka kalyanartha. It is for the benefit of everyone. Then there is no conflict in the mind. It is not you're doing it with that feverishness that, yes, I want this, I want this. You do it. And then, like Gurudev says, when you pray, this is what I want, or something better than this. Whatever is best, let that happen. When you pray with that attitude, then that frees your mind. You're not caught up with just that what you want. Further, Krishna said, may you be one whose mind and senses are with you. May you be Atmavan, a master of yourself. All of this is explained throughout the Gita. Otherwise, Krishna's words would have been merely advice and not teaching. This verse tells us what Krishna was going to teach. Here, Atma refers to the body, mind, and senses and not to the Satchit Ananda Atma, which is already you. Because you have a body, mind, and senses, what is being said here is, may you have them, may they not have you. May you not be in the hands of your fancies. May your mind be with you. May you become free from indifference and mechanical thinking, pramada. In other words, may you become alert. May you be together. Those who are committed to Bhoga and Aishwarya see the Veda as having only the three qualities as its subject matter, Traigunya Vishaya, whereas it has much more to teach. For example, the contents of this verse are taught in the Veda. Vedanta is also a part of the Veda. Krishna was saying that Arjuna had learnt enough of the Traigunya Vishaya part of the Veda. Now it was time for him to study the other part, the Vedanta. Thus, he used the word Nistraigunya. He then went on to emphasize his point. We'll stop here. So, anyone wants to share or add, or please go ahead. So, Atmavan and Nitya Sattvastaha and Niryoga Kshema Bhava. Three important aspects. Nitya Sattvastaha, that is, be established in Sattva Guna, being centered. And then Niryoga Kshema Bhava. So Krishna did not say that you should not go for yoga and kshema. Rather, he said, let there be no concern born of yoga and kshema. We automatically get into dvandvas if we are so concerned about yoga and kshema. Because you become desperate for a job. When you don't get it, you become unhappy.
So here the Atmavan means that it includes your body-mind complex, right? It's not like it's Atmavan. Master of yourself means
Correct.
like, okay. It refers to body, mind, and senses, not to the Satchitananda Atma, which is already you. Oh, sorry. You know, yesterday, I know I posted that video, but that was nothing related to art of living. But you know, it talked about a little bit about the samskaras, how about the yoga. I don't know when you guys have time to see it. So maybe I don't know, or you can explain that to me. You know, like what the kleshas and how they kind of Patanjali sutras, how it helps to get rid of those kleshas, to have the clear mind.
Yeah, I think we'll discuss that tomorrow, maybe. We'll talk about the kleshas and...
Yeah, that's fine. Just wanted to mention to you.
In fact, we have Percy G with us. He's an expert with the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. So he can throw
Yeah,
some light.
yeah, exactly. You know, that's why he always talks about, the tapas that the other day even you mentioned that he does it like 4:30. But anyway, I thought it would help. to discuss a little bit.
So we have a lot of reflection to do. This verse is so important. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavajuna Nirbandho Nitya Sattvastaha Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. So going after yoga and kshema does not disqualify you as a karma yogi, but it is the attitude with which you go towards yoga and kshema is what determines whether you're a karma yogi or not. This is my understanding. Because see, you have to there's a sense of responsibility in taking care of yourself, your body, your family if you have one. So it is that you have to do what you have to do. So getting a job is important and maintaining the job is important. But then when you shift your attitude towards being a karma yogi, then automatically you're on the number one, you're on the path of good conduct, you're on the path of dharma. You will only do what is to be done. You will not do things in order to get Aishwarya and Bhoga, as in you're not wanting to amass more wealth in corrupt ways. So you will stick to at getting your money in the right manner. At the same time, you're not overly concerned about your security, about keeping that job, because anyway you're doing your job, you're doing it 100%. Supposing there's a meltdown and there is jobs are being people are being fired. If that has to happen, it happens. So you are taking it as part of your prarabdha karma. You're taking it as prasada, and you will seek another job. So you will not be overly elated or depressed. So there's a lot of we can discuss this further. We'll do that tomorrow when we look at the other next verse. So I would encourage each of us to share, because it is important for us to have some clarity in all our undertakings. What is the attitude with which we're doing it? Yeah. For now, we'll stop here. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
तीन बार ओंकार करते हैं, सब रीढ़ की हड्डी सीधा रखें। गहरी सांस लीजिए और छोड़ें। ओ Nothing around us is real, neither this body or the world. शरीर और हमारे परिसर में जो भी है ये सब समाप्त हो जाने की ही है। ये कुछ भी सत्य नहीं। हमारे भीतर एक बिंदु है, सिर्फ वही सत्य है। There is a tiny dot inside of you. Only that is truth. That doesn't change. You are a witness to everything. आप सबके साक्षी हो। मुस्कुराते मुस्कुराते एक सांस लीजिए और मुस्कुराते मुस्कुराते छोड़े। Breathe in with a smile and breathe out with a smile. Om Shanti 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 सकते हैं। And slowly and gradually become aware of body and surroundings. And you may open your eyes.